Hi guys, and welcome. This new video format, just to see if you guys like it. And I wanted to make a video on this subject because I did talk to a guy who's been a Democrat for 40 years. And he's always voted Democrat. And this election, him, his wife, and his daughter all are now voting Republican. And he says, I'll never vote a Democrat again. Talked to many other people about the same subject, and a lot of them are doing the same thing. So I thought I'd make a video on this just to talk to you guys about it and share your thoughts. Be sure to like the video and share your thoughts below in the comment section and let me know what you think. So anyway, let's get on with it. Let's talk about why this is happening and why so many people that have been Democrats for so long are moving to Republican. So typically this is happening in the middle class more often than any other area of the financial spectrum. And it's because a lot of the laws that the Democrats have made, they have adversely affected the people of the middle class. And a lot of them are fed up with these laws. They're tired of it. They've been getting taxed more. For instance, the corporate, when they raise the corporate tax, people go, well, the corporations are going to pay. But really what happens is the corporation raises the prices to the consumer, and the middle class consumer ends up paying it. And people are starting to figure this stuff out. So the average consumer is end up paying more for products and services that are in the stores because of these laws. And there's a lot of others. For instance, in California, they put together a gas tax that they put on the ballot that was made in a way that my average person didn't understand what they were voting for. If they voted yes, it was no, or no, or yes. I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but a lot of people voted for this tax that they thought they were not voting for. And it happened to be the people that pay most of the gas tax are the middle class. And the other thing that happens when they raise the gas tax is the products on the shelf go up in price. So not only do we have in California a massive amount of inflation from printing money, but we also have a lot of cost push inflation, which is cost push inflation is when the government creates problems and it makes companies have to pay for those problems, and they pass that on to the consumer. And people today are not really as much watching the news as they used to. So what people used to do is they would go to the news as their source of information, and they've been finding out more and more that the news is either spun to the right or spun to the left, and they just want to know the truth. So what's been happening is they start to go to the internet and start to research things, and as they research things, they've been finding out more and more that the stuff that the Democrats have been telling them isn't true. Now, of course, everything in this video is my opinion. It's based on my perspective, and yours might be different than that, so keep that in mind. Personally, I'm seeing a lot of people flipping right now, and they're just tired of it. They're just tired of what's been happening. I mean, I'll show you a couple signs on the street, and people are done with it. So in California, we had 10 counties that went from Democrat to Republican. 10 counties that voted for more for Trump than they did for Kamala Harris or whoever it was on the elector. I mean, it was Tweedledum or Tweedledummer, right? So you can see here, this house. See the Trump sign in the yard right there, and over here, this one the same thing. It says right out front, Trump Vance, right here. And this is in California. So Anyway, there's a lot of this been going on, and people are just tired of what they've been lied to about. One thing they're lied to is they're said that Republicans are racist, and you've got people from all walks of life that are Republicans now. You've got black people, you have people that are Asian, you have Hispanic vote. In fact, most of the Hispanic vote has been flipping to Republican. Why? Because most of them work hard for their money, and they're tired of paying it all to the government for stuff that they're not interested in paying for. In fact, many of them are Catholic, and Catholic is dead set against abortion. I mean, I have a neutral position on that, okay? And a lot of people that are Republican have a neutral position on it, and some are definitely extreme, okay, on that issue. And that's a turnoff to a lot of people that want to flip, who agree with a lot of the other things. But you know, it's just the way it is. Again, a lot of the hardworking people are construction workers and things like that, and a lot of them that maybe they were siding to the Democrats have flipped to the Republicans because they're making all these environmental laws, and a lot of it's very extreme. A lot of it makes things cost a lot more, and a lot of it makes products that use illegal. For instance, in California, you can't buy paint thinner, okay? And there's a lot of people that need mineral spirit paint thinner, and you can see at the paint stores and whatever, they have something that's called paint thinner, but it's not the old mineral spirits. And so what they're doing is, you know, they made these products illegal and you can't buy them. So a lot of guys are driving to other states to go buy these sort of things. You know, there's also they've been taking away your gas lawnmowers. You know, they made those, I think, illegal last year. And what they did is they say, okay, you can have an old one, but if you want to buy a new one, it's got to be one of these new expensive electric ones. And a lot of people just don't have that kind of money in the middle class. So they're like going, hey, you're not doing what we need, okay? For instance, another thing that was voted on. So in 2016, there was an election, all right? And there was an election for keeping the death penalty, okay? They voted in 2016 to keep the death penalty and expedite it. Okay, it was voted, and the politicians are doing exactly the opposite of that. Gavin Newsom says, I will not kill anyone. And that's not what the people wanted. The people wanted the death penalty to be there and to expedite it. And he does what he wants. So people are tired of this stuff. Another thing the Democrats have done is they came up with this Green New Agenda, and things like water heaters have to be low NOx. And the price of those water heaters used to be like $400 or $500, and now they're $1,000. And a lot of middle class people just can't afford that kind of money. They can't afford for that stuff. The other thing is they came up with, it's all stuff from this law called Title 24. You can look this up. And what they've done also, in addition to that, is it's made the prices of roofs go way up. So they have this new Title 24 roof that's supposed to be a more energy efficient system. In other words, you got to have reflective roofing type material, or you have to have more insulation in your attic. And a roof that used to cost $5,000 or $10,000 now costs $20,000, and the average middle class person just can't afford those things. So what's happening is, you know, they've been making these laws that are just not good for the middle class, and so it's making rents go up, because now the landlord has to pay $20,000 for a roof where he used to pay 10 or 5 or 10. And so when they did that, what happens? They have to raise the rent, and people can't afford it. They already can't afford the rent. And so they're saying stuff like, the government's saying things like, oh, it's because these greedy landlords and all this stuff. But people are starting to figure out that these things were from the government, what the government's done. The thing that they did was, in that same law, is air conditioning. You used to buy an air conditioning system for your house. It used to cost you about $3,000 or $4,000. Now the new ones are close to $20,000. Yeah, because what's happened is they made you buy a more efficient air conditioner. They made one that's low NOx. It has to have low NOx heater. They're going to be trying to outlaw natural gas. And of course, what's that going to do? It's going to make people have to pay more for their electric bill. And what's more expensive, a natural gas heater or electric heater? You know, just same with your dryer. They're making people buy these electric dryers for their house, and if we have a state that's already maxed out with the electric bill, you know, with electric. In the summer, we have these things called rolling blackouts. I'm talking about all these different types of appliances and different things that they're making people have to buy that people just can't afford, and especially the middle class. So what's happening is they're done. They're just done with it, and they're looking at other things. So once they start investigating things and they start to find out that, you know, all the things that the Democrats have been saying about the Republican Party, they start to investigate things like, well, are they really racist? You know, are they really all these things that they're saying? And they're finding out that it's not just not true. It's actually the opposite. You know, you go to a Republican rally and there's all walks of life there, and everybody mixes together and they're super happy. You know, I have tons of friends that are black, Asian, Hispanic, all Republicans, and we all get along together. We have a great time. They do these Volkswagen events, and a lot of the guys are Republican. So yeah, there's some Democrats, of course, you know, and some of them are learning. You know, one of my friends, like I said, it was at the event, he's always voted Democrat, and now his whole family, him and his wife and his daughter, are now voting Republican. So it's happening anyway. Truth is, the average person, the middle class, ends up paying for everything. And every time the Democrats do something, make a law, they get rid of a policy, they do something, it adversely affects most middle class. In fact, here's another Trump flag right up the street from the other one. And it's not just rich people, you know, it's people of the middle class, because they're the ones that are paying for this stuff. When they raise the price of gas, everything on the shelf goes up, the middle class pays it. Right now they have a new law coming out, and I think it's already been signed into law and everything, and it says that gas prices are going to go up about 60 cents a gallon because they want to make a cleaner fuel. And it's to push people into buying electric cars. And what they do is they go, well, hey, we're going to give you guys an incentive to buy a new electric car. And the incentive, if you look at it, okay, it actually is completely, you know, I mean, put links in there for this stuff. It's actually, in my opinion, completely impossible for the average person to afford a electric car. You see behind me, Trump flag. American flag, Trump flag. Across the street, American flag. Okay? It's happening everywhere. And it's happening in the middle class. It's happening in the upper middle class. This is kind of an upper middle class neighborhood. It's a little more expensive than maybe even that, but, you know, same difference. The other things that they're doing are this green agenda for electric cars, again, I was saying. And a lot of people are starting to read into this stuff. And they were saying, oh yeah, it's 2035, you have nothing to worry about. And what they're doing is they're actually looking at the law, okay? Because there are people starting to kind of get a little weary about what they're learning from the Democrats. They're realizing they're lying to them, and they're just going to read stuff. So the thing about the electric cars is in 2025, the 2026 year models come out. You can read this. You can go to the California CARB website and check it out for yourself. What the law actually happens on the 2026 year models, 35% of the cars being provided at the dealers, as the way I understand it. Of course, it may not be worded the way that I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, okay? But the way that I read it, it said 2025, the 26 year models come out, and the 2026 year models, you have to have 35% the first year electric. The second year, it's 41% electric. The third year, it's 50, I think it's 51, I can't remember, but it's over 50%. So over 50% of the cars provided to the dealer in 2020, what is that, 2027, need to be electric. So what do you think that's going to do to the price of a gas car? Well, the dealership's going to go, well, we got 3 of them in stock, so I'm sorry, you're going to have to pay a premium for that. So the car that's a gas car that is normally something you can afford to buy, and look at how much the electric cars cost, $60,000, you know, $40,000, you know, and if you buy a $40,000 one, you're basically, your radius, you know, where you can't go out of town really, you know, you try and go out of town in that thing and you're going out of charge, and you're gonna have to stop somewhere at a level 2, level 3 charger and charge it up, okay? And you know, it'll be such a pain in the ass to go anywhere in that car that nobody's going to go anywhere. So this is what they want. Control. It's all about control. And people are figuring this stuff out. The thing they're figuring out about electric cars is they go, well, it's a way that the government can control you. Basically, you have one power, all right? So you got electric power and that's it. So all they got to do is turn off the light switch, right? And you can't go anywhere. We have complete control over you. Where if you can store 10 gallons of gas or 20 gallons of gas, you can go 300 or 400 miles. You can't do that in an electric car. They say, oh, it's 300-mile range. But now when you add your family to it, you put all that weight in the car, that changes a lot, okay? And it doesn't do exactly what they say. In fact, people go, I ask people, look, what's your actual range? And they go, well, my estimated range, you know, is so, but yeah, no, don't look at that. Put your miles in when you charge it. Put your miles in when you recharge it, and see how many actual miles you went. And I can tell you right now that it's going to be nowhere near the estimated range. Nowhere near that. Because the estimated range is based on the weight of the vehicle and based on just you, one person being in it. When you add headlights, you add other passengers, you add weight, especially in pickup trucks, you know, it's just not going to work. Again, people are looking at this stuff and they're just realizing that this is not what we're interested in. We don't want to go this extreme. And so they're looking at other options. And then they find out that everything that they've been being told about the Republican Party is not true. Oh, they're a bunch of racists. They're bigots. They're all these awful things that they say. And they're finding out that stuff's just not true. And so just because they changed the policies about women's rights in some states, you know, and I don't agree with it really, but it doesn't make me want to go and run to the Democratic Party where I'm going to pay all this tax and I'm going to pay for all these things that I'm not interested in paying for, you know, like the immigration thing. You know, they're just trying to bring in more voters, really, and people are realizing that they're just trying to immigrate more people so they can flip them, make them feel like, oh wow, these guys did something for me. But I think what's going to happen even with them is they're going to realize that, just like the Hispanic guy that I was talking to, for over 40 years he's voted Democrat. He started reading stuff now and he's done. He ain't ever going back. He's never going to vote Democrat again. I can just see it. He sees what's going on, okay? And a lot of people, they're seeing what's going on and they're just flipping. They're done. So anyway, I'd like to hear your comments on that and what you guys think. I mean, what you've done and if you've flipped. You know, I've always been a middle person. I've been middle right. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that the right wing goes with, okay? And I certainly don't agree with paying more tax. And I certainly don't agree with, you know, what's been going on the left with this extreme I don't know, all this stuff. There's this crazy stuff going on, and I don't agree with it. So, you know, I just side with the path of least resistance, and that seems to be the Republican Party right now. Hopefully we can come up with something better in the future. Now, I'd like to make a video. I do have a really good idea to have health care for all. And if you guys want to see that, make sure you subscribe and check this out and let me know what you think. Yeah, if you're interested in that kind of video, I'd like to know what you think. Either party, whether you're Democrat, Republican, this is just what's happening around me, and maybe, you know, it's happening around you, and you can comment below about that and let me know what's happening around you. Maybe it's happening everywhere, you know, but it certainly is here in a state that's been primarily Democrat. And you know, it wasn't always that way. When I was younger, you know, I remember we had a Republican governor, and I can't remember the last time we had one. Well, there was Arnold Schwarzenegger, he certainly wasn't that bad. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't definitely a leftist, real far extreme like the last two governors we've had. And I didn't mind him really because he didn't wreck anything. But these guys that are in office, you know, Brown and Newsom, have just been basically a wrecking ball to the state of California. And people are tired of it. They see what's going on, and they're just done. They're to the point where they're flipped, and a lot of them are so angry that they are not going back. Okay, so if you're a Democrat, you know, you might want to take a look at some of the stuff and see what you think, and look at both sides of every issue. You know, this is what I tell my daughter, who thinks she's Democrat. She doesn't know yet, but I said, look at both sides of every. Stop looking at that one-sided media you're looking at, because the stuff in there is spun. Okay, and once they find out and they look at both sides of it, most people flip. All right. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.